and let the Dragonblade authors take it this week, because I know they can talk, and I know they have lots and lots of cool things to talk about, and good books. But we are going to start this week. We've got Emily Murdoch, Cerise DeLand, and CH Admirand with us. And Emily is actually the only one with a release this week. Ladies, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Emily, can you talk to us a little bit about your release? It's the Don't Judge a Duke by the Cover, and the Dukes in Danger series. Brand new series for you. I'm very excited.
New series. So if you have been watching any of these videos of any type for the last 3 months, you know that we've just finished a pretty intense Christmas series, which I loved, and I'm so glad that so many of you loved it. But I have to admit, it's kind of nice to put the Christmas decorations aside after living with that series for a very long time and start a new one. So this is my Dukes in Danger series, and it's all came about when I was chatting with one of my readers. So thank you, readers. You give us great ideas. Please keep giving us the good ideas. I will absolutely take them and write them for you. About dukes who are just bored. You know, a lot of these men were highly educated. They had all these connections. They traveled the world, and then they just kind of come back and run estates and birth heirs, and it's just very dull. And I sat there and I thought, yeah, they're gonna want a little danger in their lives. They're gonna want to go out there and do something a little different, and that's how it all kind of started. So, book 1 is out this week. Don't judge a duke by his cover, and I have to say it slowly because I often get it wrong and just say book because I'm so obsessed with books. This is Lawrence, the Duke of Penshaw, and I thought I'd really start out with a bang, which is why he is undercover as a boxer. He's agreed to leave his identity behind because his brother was murdered by a traitor to the crown, and he's trying to track down this traitor. He's waiting for him to come back from France, and he absolutely must not get distracted from his mission. Why? Unfortunately, he immediately then gets distracted by a beauty from society who absolutely should not be at these illegal boxing rings. And that's kind of how the story starts. It's very much, secret identities and mysteries. And poor old Lawrence has a really hard time of it. Not only because, he's grieving this loss and he's completely infatuated with this woman he knows he absolutely should not be going near, but because he's still kind of trying to live undercover and pretend he's not a duke. So he keeps catching himself saying things, oh, I do beg your pardon. I mean, what? What did you say? And it's just, it's a romp. I think it's good. I think it's a good example of how your best intentions, although being very good, may not always work out in the way that you think. So it's, chance to catch a killer, put a traitor behind bars, revenge his brother, but potentially get Julia's heart as well, if he's lucky.
Wow.
I love the setup for this one. And I love, I think we talked about it earlier, and it's not love at first sight. It's like punch at first sight.
Yeah. So this is not a spoiler. This is all in chapter 1. So this is not a spoiler. The book opens with Lawrence in the boxing ring, and he's looking at the crowd, and he's relatively accomplished at this. He did a lot of boxing in his university days, so he's not super worried. And he's hyper focused, gotta find this killer, gotta find this guy, gotta track down this guy. And he sees this glimpse of a woman in the crowd. It's not just any woman, it's a remarkably attractive woman. And he's then immediately punched out by his opponent because he got distracted. Well, I say it's not really a meet cute, it's kind of a punch cute. Her first impression of him is this guy that just gets floored, and his first impression of her is concussion. I had a huge amount of fun playing around with that, and their expectations of each other, which very swiftly start to get incredibly complicated and tangled.
I love the idea of revisiting titled men too. I've been watching a little bit of Southern Charm at night, and the boys are just so bad. They're just so bad. They just they have money and power and all of those kind of things, and they just don't do anything with it at all. And so the idea of a duke coming back or somebody coming back and becoming a duke and having all of the stuff and not having a purpose of where to go with it.
It was really funny. I just started writing down all these ideas of okay, well, how could they be getting in danger? And I don't want to give too many spoilers for the series, but could they be trying to track down spies? Could they be framed for things? Could they go to France and end up stranded? Could they accidentally fall in love with the wrong woman and upset the brother and get in a bit of a tangle there? So there's all these opportunities to, you know, put them in real, genuine danger, which, you know, they're very confident they're going to get out of very quickly, and of course they don't.
And then when you add a woman who twists things up for them, it's like even more fun. So
every single time I sit down and look at one of these books in the series, I think, oh, you know what? If my heroine wasn't here, he could be done in 10 minutes. I mean, these are smart men. These aren't idiots. But unfortunately, they just get themselves tied in knots. And it's because, as you say, these beautiful, elegant, charming, sometimes very shy. I've got a wallflower in this series to come up, which I'm really excited about. But also some really brash women who've had to, you know, learn to look after themselves because they don't really have anyone else to do that. And they are absolutely put in their place.
Well, it sounds delightful, and we so book 1 launches this week, and then book 2 is coming out in March. So
yes,
brand new series for us to get excited about. I'm anxious. So Cerise, you don't have a book coming out for a while, but you did have a book from the Get Your Duke On collection released, a novella this week, and that's part of your Naughty Lady series. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because I seem to be frozen on the screen, and Evelyn, so are you. So I thought, oh,
nope, we're moving around. Everything's good.
Okay.
That may not hold.
Well, okay, the center may not hold. All right. Last Friday, December 30th, I believe, my story from Get Your Duke On came out by itself. It has a fabulous cover of a woman sitting in front of a phaeton and horses. The premise of Get Your Duke On was to choose a Beach Boys or a summer song. And so I chose Fun, Fun, Fun Till Your Daddy Takes Your Phaeton Away. And her daddy did. So, because she used to drive like a mad woman. And so she's a widow. She's a dragon of the ton, and wealthy, and she needs no man. So our hero is determined to convince her that that is not true. She needs a man desperately because he says she's forgotten how to be a woman, and he can help her remember. And he does, you know. So I had great fun doing that. On the other end, I am currently writing book number 2 in a new series called Matrimony!
Exclamation point.
Yes.
I just remember to put that one on.
Yeah, and this story is based on, I read British newspapers, old British newspapers. I subscribe to a business, I guess you call it, that has put old British newspapers online. And so I have started to use that, years ago, as a resource. And then I thought, wow, here are all these ads for people who want to get married. And some of them are rather risque. Yes. Nice. And others are rather stupid. You know, one woman comes on and she says, I'm looking for a man who will, embellish me because I'm beautiful, and I don't
like the frost me kind of thing.
But I have a marvelous trousseau, you know, and you go, well, I'm not going to marry you for your fashion. So that's not so. So anyway, I have had to think, why would anyone write an ad, take an ad in a newspaper, you know, Tinder, etc. Why would anyone take an ad to marry someone who they have never seen before? So it's been, it's been very interesting, and every book has a bit of suspense to it. Some of those reasons are personal. Some of them are very dire. In this second one, I have a young French woman who was an emigre and saw her mother and her 2 brothers guillotined. So, She is looking for solidity and stability. And so then I have another one of those, and then next year I start a really razzle dazzle new series called Scarlet Affairs, which is really espionage during the entire Napoleonic era. So I'm very thrilled with that one. Haven't started it yet, except maybe 10 pages, but I'm on it. So
there's lots of good stuff coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff coming.
Yeah, right. So I'm booked for the next 2 years. You know, I'm working this. I'm working this party. It's great fun.
Well, that sounds like so much fun, and I love the setup for Matrimony. When I saw the publisher's marketplace announcement, I thought that just sounds like so much fun. So
yes, it is.
Are they Dragonblade original, Cerise, or are they Flameline?
Oh no, they're all originals.
Okay,
they're all originals, and they're big books. Oh boy, are they big!
Wow.
You know, the amount of detail in an 80,000 word book. I haven't done that in a while. It's astonishing. And so, do you see me panting? I've lost weight, you know, keeping up with this. And I admire those of you, like my two compatriots here on the screen, who can do that with an ease and a regularity and a panache. It's stunning. I'm in good company.
Thank you, if only you knew.
I know.
I was thinking that, CH, but I wasn't going to say it. I'm just thinking it quietly to myself.
Evelyn knows.
Well, that sounds like so much fun. We'll look forward to the new stuff, the new year, and also to grab I loved the covers for the Naughty Ladies series. I thought they were so much fun, and so I'm looking forward to reading the novella as well.
Thank you.
CH, we're going to talk to you in just a couple of weeks about your new release that's coming
Okay,
out.
I'll see you then. Bye.
No.
Hey, now that's not how we roll here.
Sorry. It's that kind of a morning.
Can you tell us a little bit about the series? So if we haven't already read up to this point, we're caught up by the time the new release comes out, and also talk to us about the new stuff that you have going on.
I'll try. My brain has not been fully engaged since November, but I'm working on it because I'm behind on my deadline with book number 4 in my series, The Duke's Guard. It's a spin-off series from my first one, the Lords of Vice, and the Duke in the first book, the Duke of Windermere, hires 16 men, and these men are his personal guard because there are nefarious people out there who do not want him to be Duke and do their best to destroy his family name and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's a lot there, but it's not important. What's important is he hires these men, and there are 4 O'Malley brothers, and then there are 4 O'Malley cousins, and there's 4 Flahertys and 4 Garahans. And they're manly men, hard-headed, stubborn, gorgeous, shoulders like an ox. Have you seen The Quiet Man? That's like my favorite line when they talk about old Sean Thornton. He had shoulders. Anyway, so they all do. And they're like my heavenly hubby. They have blonde hair and green eyes, the O'Malleys. But now the Flahertys and the Garahans are dark hair, dark eyes, because I actually write about them. I started writing about them in like 1990 something, a long time ago. And so the names carry through. It's a family name. The Garahans and the Flahertys are my family names. So I like to use them in my books. So, but anyway, these are hard-headed men, and it's their story. They're not members of the Ton. They're working men. They have connections in the seamier side of London. So they're really an asset to the Duke when he has these people who are doing their best to really take away his family name. And, with that, a lot of times, once you're shunned in society, I mean, normally people don't do that with the Duke, but I mean, they get their like slings and arrows in and they make people question. It's kind of like social media today. But basically, they meet a feisty woman who is a distraction. The last thing they need interferes with their vow to the Duke to guard his family with their lives. And they all have put their life on the line at one point or another in the series. So, God love Catherine Levesque. I don't know why she said, yes, I want a book about all of them. I'm like, 16? She's like, yes. So, Cerise, like you, I have 2 years out on my whiteboard. I'm going to shift the camera. My grandsons helped me put that up. It's a like whiteboard that sticks on the wall, and those are
Like
all
the contact paper kind.
Yes, I got it on Amazon. I'm like, this is perfect because I bought the board.
Oh no, I have one ordered too.
It fell off the wall, so I'm like, let's just stick it on. So that's all my reminder of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm really struggling with Finn O'Malley. He's the 4th O'Malley story that I'm writing. Stuff happens in life, and I'm not going to talk about the bad stuff, but I'm finding my place in life now because it's different. And so certain times a year, I have reminders, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't write today. Excuse me, I'm going to go cry and put on my favorite record, or go drink coffee because I can't drink wine anymore. So life is difficult when you can't have your favorite things around you. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know if any of that makes sense.
It all made sense. No, it all made sense. And the idea of not being able to write some days, it's like New Year's is all about production schedules. And like, how am I going to plan my marketing schedule? How am I going to plan? Like, what am I, and all the planning. Right. And writing is about sitting down and being really, really, really honest with yourself and your characters and letting yourself feel things. Because I think the only way you get it onto the page is if you tap into the feelings yourself. And if you have pain, like, I don't know about the rest of you, but the first thing that happens when I open the door, it's like, oh my God, it's like just all whoosh. It has nothing to do with what I'm working on. It has to do with that tapping into that place where you allow yourself to feel. And when you let yourself feel, it's like the noisy little emotions are back here going, no, today we're going to cry.
Today we're going to cry.
What we're doing now.
And this is what we're going to do with our hero or our heroine. And they're always in the back of my mind saying, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not following your synopsis today, and tomorrow doesn't look good either. And it's like, why did I write about this hard-headed man? I'm like, oh yeah, because I've been surrounded by them all my life. So write what you know.
And we often love the things that vex us.
Yes.
We do. And but if you didn't love them, then you wouldn't care. So then it wouldn't bother you. And you'd be like, I don't care. You can do whatever you want. And then it's like, no, please don't. Whatever they're doing. And they're just like, I'm the man and I'm doing it. I mean, face it, we all know, really. Is there a man in your life who doesn't feel that they're just, well, I'm here and you're going to do what I want? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. My luck. But anyway.
Okay. So, you showed us your whiteboard, which is very, very cool. And I did actually order the contact paper, which I'm going to put all over my house so I can write notes to my children in addition to doing.
And it was a really good deal. And it,
Yeah. So because it is New Year's and because I know that there are some of us who are planner junkies who buy brand new planners every year. How do you all set up how do you set up your year? How do you set up your production schedule? You're all talking about books 2 years out. So I know that you've got serious plans about how you do things. What are there rituals that you do at the end of the previous year or the beginning of the new year to get yourself set up for what comes next?
Yes, I do. I have all my deadlines written out, and I know the minimum amount of words I want for each book. So I create a total for the year and go in, and I tell myself that I write 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That's a lie. And and so therefore there are approximately 20 days in every month in which I can write. And so I add that all up and divide by, whatever 20 times 12 is. And I come up with far too many words per day. until I get to about midway in each book. And then suddenly I'm not doing my approximately 12 to 1,500 words a day. Suddenly I'm doing 3,000.
Yeah.
Not 3 words, but 3,000. And I'm saying, wow, that's great, until I get to the end and I realize that, I'm about, I'm finished and it looks good, it sounds good, but there are things that I could improve. So I go in and I say, wow, it's showtime. And I go back in and suddenly I discover I've got 3,000 to 5,000 more words. It's luscious. and so I keep up with myself. Advertising and promotion are the things that just rock me. And I really try to go on Facebook once a day and do some kind of yaya. But and I do some advertising, but the concept escapes me. So I just keep writing what I think are good books and what a lot of people think are good books, and hoping for the best.
But the middles go faster for you when you're writing?
Well, once I get to about 25,000, 30,000 words on a longer book, suddenly I know where I am. Mm-hmm. I've painted the people, I've got the momentum, and wow, I can rock and roll forward. But the beginning, I am always bald. Because I'm pulling my hair out. And I don't know if you can see in back of me, I have my own version of a whiteboard. I have a white pad and it has nothing on it. Nothing. I'm coming to your house. And no, I'm not, because I'm a pantser through and through. I can write an outline from here to Hades and back, and she no work. So it's all instinct.
So is it your characters that drag you around the way CH's characters drag her around?
Yeah, absolutely. Once I put them in a bad situation, it's like going to a bad New Year's Eve party.
If you're going into the house, it should at least be to a good party.
Yeah, I mean, it's people are strangers, and it's only after a couple of drinks, i.e. 10, 20K words on the page, that you really begin to know who people are. Because you always know who people are when they're drinking. I've said enough.
So, Emily, I know that you are a very, very, very heavy plotter, because we've had this conversation more times before, but you did get a bit of a deer in the headlights look when I talked about planners.
I am a structure bunny. I like my structure. But I don't use the traditional planner. So I am not a visual person, which surprises a lot of people. I'm a very wordy person. So this is my test, and you three could join me, and readers and viewers join me. If I say the word palm tree, what do you see?
I'm at the beach. I see palms, but I know they do have them in Ireland.
So I see the words palm tree in Times New Roman.
No way.
I don't have a very strong visual interior. Really? Like if you make me do it, I'll do it. But my instinct is to go words. So this is why. Thank you, Violetta, my wonderful editor. My descriptions are getting better. But I'm very dialogue plot comes to me very naturally. But description, I can write a whole book and be like, oh, I have no idea what my characters look like. And this is why I'm always so grateful to Catherine and Dar, who's our amazing cover designer. They get me the covers ahead of time. So I always write with the cover, so I can be like, what does she look like? Oh, she's there. That's what she looks like. So planners to me, anything visual, things on the wall, all of that doesn't do anything for me. My planning is through spreadsheets. Oh, we're going to lose Cerise. She'll be back. So I have a spreadsheet with every single day going down one side, and then I have the books at the top, and then I have okay, I need to be writing this one, editing this one, plotting this one, and every single day is marked out of what I've got to do. And because I'm very structural, I structure my day. So for me, writing is 6 a.m. till 10, maybe 11 if things are going well. that's my most creative portion of the day. So I'm like, right, straight up words, get the words down before anything else. And then it's like strategy stuff. So like, okay, what do I want like my next newsletter to look like? What do I want my next like series to look like? What's my next goal? And then it's admin. That's when I stick a podcast on or an audio book, and I'm just like, right, promo, emails, newsletters, sorting out paying invoices of this, sorting out my tax return, all the joyful things that we do kind of behind the scenes. And so every day is structured like that. I just shift along the spreadsheet of like, so for today, I did chapters, talk about inspiration. I did chapters 11, 12. I was meant to then do chapters 13, 14 of my current manuscript, but something happened which made me really sad. So I had a bit of a cry, and then I was like, well, I can't do chapters 13 and 14 because they're the happy chapters. They're like past the midpoint, everything's working, everything's going to be perfect. I was like, I can't write that. So I skipped ahead because I've plotted so carefully. I already know what's going to happen in every chapter. I skipped ahead to the dark moment, and I was like, I'll write that. I'll make them feel as miserable as I do. So I do that, and that way I'm always able to get some writing done, even if I'm not having the best day. And I think that mainly comes from balancing a full-time, quite stressful, high-intensity PR job while essentially writing full-time for 8 years, which I don't recommend. It's not a very healthy position, but I was so determined to make writing my full-time career. I was like, I have to treat it like a job, even if I just write, this is bad, but I'll fix it later, and then just like write. And sometimes I do, like every now and again. Only once has Violetta, I think, found like a note that I left myself being like, this is terrible. Obviously, I'd edited it since, but I'd forgotten to take the note to myself out. She was like, what is going on with? But like, however I'm feeling, whether it's, you know, full spectrum of happy, sad, there is a chapter that I have plotted that I can write, even if it feels like pulling teeth, which today it did.
But your plotting is quite extensive. It's almost like a third to half a book. You know?
Yeah. So this current series that I'm writing is like 65 to 70k per book, and a deep plot for that will be like 20k, and that's like everything that happens in every single chapter.
Wow.
So it's almost like it's not a first draft because it's all written present tense. And it's sometimes written in first person for each chapter, just so I can get into the heads of the characters. And it's things like she gets up, shouts at him, saying that he wasn't a very good, I don't know, boxer, just to pick, you know. They have an argument. He specifically mentions that she didn't tell him that her brother was coming to visit, where they walk, as part of their argument, they walk around the boxing ring. So like, it's not prose. It's kind of like if you were audio describing a play. If you had someone who was visually impaired next to you, you'd be like, okay, he's got up and he's walked over, and oh, is he going to punch him? It's that sort of thing.
Yeah. But that means that by the time you sit down to write, you're already at Cerise's 20k point. Because I have the same thing that Cerise does. It's like the wandering around in the woods for a little bit in the beginning, where I'm not sure exactly who the people are, and then by halfway through, I know who they are. So and then by the time we get to the end of the book, I'm like, they're not the same people they were when we started.
And this is the joy. This is the joy of the deep plot, is that I have it nailed down by the time I have that kind of skeleton. And then the first full draft is putting meat on the bones. And it means that the characterization is usually pretty coherent, and the plot usually makes sense. And I don't have any massively red herrings of characters that get introduced, but then you never see them again, which used to happen in, way back when I was a younger writer. And it does mean that if I have, a particularly good day and I feel incredibly positive and I'm meant to write a very depressing scene, I'm going to be like, you know what, I'm not feeling that. I've already deep plotted 2 books ahead. So I'll go to one of those and I'll write one of those chapters. And it just means that I still get words down. So it's 10k every day, Monday to Friday as a minimum. If I get more than that, great.
Did you say 10k?
She did, yes.
Yeah. I can. So I can write 2,000 words in half an hour. So I just keep doing that between 6 and 10, 6 and 11 until the words are
incredible.
It takes practice. It's I mean, put my crown on. I teach this. I have a course that teaches this because it's something that I'm very good at. I'm very bad at lots of other things, like description, for example. I've got I don't know where it is. I put it down. I put it in a safe place 2 days ago, and I haven't seen it since. But I've got the Emotion Thesaurus, which it's a great book. It's a tool that a lot of authors use, and it's, instead of saying, "Oh, she felt sad," it describes like what are the physical elements of being sad, and it's a huge list. Because I'm not very good at describing physicality. I'm just not
That's
very good.
Because you see palm tree as palm tree instead of as a palm tree.
So when I'm writing, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, but what do people look like when they're sad? Like I know how I feel. I've got lots of good feel, you know, that bubbling rage or that kind of like that shiver of shock. But I'm like, okay, so if you're shivering of shock, are her shoulders back? And you can, you know, if you're a fly on the wall, you'd see me in my study here being like, what do bodies do? It's because I'm not very visual. I can't conjure up the vision of someone looking shocked. I see the word shocked. So yeah.
But you'd never know that from reading your stories. I have to tell you that.
Well, this is why I have the deep plot, because then I know what emotion I'm going to. So I'm already in that mind space of like, well, I know we're going to have this big argument in chapter 7, so I've got to start like putting in hints of like, what does she look like? What does this character? How does this person react when they're angry?
Okay.
But it's the joy of editing. As I said to an author friend this morning, it'll all come out in the editing. Like I have to go through, and because I know my weaknesses, I'm looking for those mistakes, and I'm looking for those gaps. And I have Violetta, who's such an incredible editor. And I know that all the editors at Dragonblade are just incredible and championing us and making sure our books are as good as they possibly can be. And without Violetta, I would be a much, much worse author.
Oh, I don't think so.
I won't send you one of my first drafts because no one should have to.
No one reads my first drafts either.
No one should suffer through that.
Well, ladies, we are over time, which I knew we were going to be, because it was just inevitable. This was not I was not going to fight against it because I was just inevitable. But I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us this week.
Thank you.
I love that we had a chance to talk about the new series that are coming up. I'm really excited about those. And Emily's book releases this week, so I will make sure I put the link in the chat so you all can find it if you haven't found it already. Because it's an every week kind of thing. Dragonblade books are the very best deal on pre-order and release. You want to grab them right away because it's just like it could not be a better deal. So you want to grab them on pre-order and release. I'll also put the links to Cerise's novella in the book because that just came out as well. And we will be back here the same time next week to chat again.
Okay.
Thanks so much, ladies. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you.